Hi, I'm Brainerd Carey, Director of Praxis Center, and today I'm going to talk about taxes and how you prove you're an artist. Because this is often an issue for artists in a number of ways, especially when you're doing your tax returns. And this could be in any country, although I'm in the United States and I'm going to talk from that perspective. But this outline, this paradigm that I'm going to explain to you is something that you can also explain to your accountant and or whoever's doing your taxes so that you get the best tax break and prove you're an artist essentially. So what you have to do to begin with is to prove by just essentially saying it and showing some of your activity that your idea for making art is to make a profit. If your idea is not to make a profit, then you can't write off or get tax deductions for all the things that you're using to make your art. But if you are trying to make a profit with your art, if it is a business that whose goal is to make a profit, and I imagine for everyone listening to this, that's the case. If that's your goal, you have to state that clearly. You have a business, your business is selling your art. The way you sell it is, online or through galleries. And if you have galleries, that's part of the documentation. If you're selling it online, then you have, a place where you sell it online, whether that's through a third party, site like Etsy or Saatchi or somewhere else, or if that's through your own website, that is an online store. That's legitimate. So one thing to keep in mind is that when you're doing your taxes, in order to get deductions for all your materials, for all your studio expenses, for anything related to your art, you have to present yourself as an artist who is in business trying to make a profit off their work. And then if you've only sold, let's say, $5,000 worth of paintings, but have spent several $1,000s on art for your studio and more, you have a lot to write off, right? And even if you made a profit and made much more than you thought on your art, you still have all these materials to write off. As opposed to if you approached this as your kind of a hobbyist, and art is something that you do on the side, but it's not really your job, but you'd like to write off some materials or some expenses, that's not going to work because there's no intent to make a profit there. So if there's no intent to make a profit, then there's no ability to write off different aspects of that process. So in short, as I'm explaining in this video, for tax purposes in the United States and elsewhere in the world, just ask an accountant, a CPA who you work with or is local. Typically, to write off expenses, to get tax deductions for expenses as an artist, you have to prove that you're an artist that is seeking a profit from their business. And again, the proof is simply that you have a way to sell the work, whether it's through your own website, Etsy, Saatchi, anywhere else, and that you have a studio and you're making work, or you're making the work in your house, which means you can write off a portion of the rent in the house. So I hope this is helpful. I'm not an expert in taxes, but I know this about taxes, that it's important to get the full deduction as an artist, to prove that you are an artist. And the only proof you need is not to show paintings and everything else. I mean, you have that, but it's to show that you are in fact in business and that your goal in this business is to make a profit. That gives you proof that you're an artist and entitles you to all the tax breaks and deductions that artists get in the United States or whatever country you're in. I hope this is helpful. Consult your local CPA, certified public accountant, to get any more details, depending on where you are in the world, because taxes can be a complicated process. But for being an artist, it's straightforward what it means to get a break in tax deductions in that area if you are out for profit. If you explain clearly that the goal of your art business is to make a profit. I hope this was helpful. If you have any questions or comments, don't hesitate to ask. And if you'd like to see other subjects addressed here in this series of videos, don't hesitate to comment below.